Hey everyone, how's it going? This is Kill 10 Rats. Welcome back to the Age of Decadence, where we have just left the Commercium in Teron, the big city. Our dangerous drifter, the Gaul, has finally arrived to make a name for himself and has been wrapped up in a bit of a conspiracy against the ruling house, where the leader of the Merchants Guild would like to depose the current ruler of the house, Aurelian, I think it is, and replace him with Serenus. Like Lord Galas is supposed to be replaced with a more malleable ruler that is basically dancing to the Merchant Guild's tune, and our manipulative character here definitely isn't the worst choice to set up a conspiracy, but for the moment we still have a job to do for Antidas Daratan from Teron, and to that end we have to find Domitius, who is right here in this little hovel. So let's say hi. You see a middle-aged man with a weathered face, half hidden by a scraggly beard. You ask if he's Domitius Ulpius, and the man nods and steps back, letting you in. "What can I do for you, stranger?" asks Domitius tiredly. "Lord Antidas sent me to find the temple. You're my first stop." "I don't see how I can help you, since I never found it," says the man cautiously. "You know more than I do. At the very least, you can tell me where the temple is not." "Well, I suppose it's not really a secret. According to the map, the temple is somewhere northeast from Teron, but the map hasn't been drawn to scale, so it's almost impossible to pinpoint the exact location. What's worse is the map's been drawn before the war, so many places the map refers to are no longer there. There were reports of a buried temple east of Teron, so that's where we started. We set up camps and started combing the desert, looking for the signs of the temple. The problem is the desert never stays the same. Wind constantly shifts the sands, making dunes and moving them at will. Entire towns have been known to disappear under shifting sands, so looking for a buried temple in a desert is like looking for a needle in a haystack. Still, we were optimistic, but that's when the attacks came." What attacks?" "We were too close to Teron, too close for Galas's comfort. I'm not sure what he thought we were doing there, but it's very clear that he wanted us gone. At first our scouts started disappearing, and then smaller camps came under attack. After losing a third of our men and some gear, we were forced to pack up and leave." "You were mentioning a buried temple?" "Several caravan masters reporting seeing a buried complex emerging from the sand, the top of some pyramids surrounded by towers. They said it was pretty big as Teron even. And do you believe them?" "Their accounts were consistent and they had no reason to lie. At the same time, deserts often play trick on one's eyes, so perhaps they all saw what wasn't there." "Do go on." "We kept moving northeast until we came to a dead river and the ruins of some dock. The riverbed was covered in fog. We could see the remains of some ship, but not much else. We lowered several men down there and sent them to look for a way up, but they didn't return. Then we split our group in two. One went north to look for a way to cross the river, the other went south. I was with the group that went north. We didn't find a way across, but we found something far more interesting. A temple carved into the face of a mountain. At first we even thought we'd found the temple, that the gods led us to it. And what happened? We rushed inside. We really thought we'd found it, but we all knew what Antidas was after. Had the temple already been looted, it would have been worthless. We had to find something valuable to bring back, something that would have made us all rich men. We had good lore masters with us. Antidas spared no gold getting the best men, and they were worth every coin. They knew what to look for and what to do with it before any of us could even blink. They went through this temple like hounds following scent. They found hidden chambers and a moving platform to take us down to the lower levels. We thought we found the inner sanctum, but instead we found hell itself under our very feet. I knew that it was the moment I knew what it was the moment I saw it. Hellgate from the old stories. I begged the lore masters to leave it alone, but they were lost in the machines. I doubt they heard a word I said. And so I left them to their fate. A few men went with me, but most stayed there. When the ground shook, I knew the fools had awakened the machines. Then we heard the first screams. We knew better than to go back and try to save anyone." "Is that why you never tried to find the temple again?" "It changed something in me. I mean, we've all heard the stories about the olden days, but when they become real right before your eyes, you start thinking, what other stories are real? What if Galas is right to fear the artifacts? Maybe we really should lock them up and throw away the key." "I hope you never find it," says Domitius quietly. "What about the other group, the one that went south?" I've never heard from them again. I assume they're all dead, much like the rest of the expedition. Do you remember where the temple in the mountains was? Somewhere northeast from here, a few weeks' journey, maybe more. I wish I could be of more help, but my job was to keep us moving forward and secure the temple, not to fiddle with an astrolabe. And whose job was that? Gaius Levinus. He was the best cartographer I've worked with, but I'm not sure he can help you much either. He was with me all the way, and it changed him too. He stayed with me for a year, mostly staring blankly and talking to himself, then went to Ganazar. Okay, and we got some insight to increase our skills there, which is nice, and also another mention of Ganazar, and, you know, eventually having to go there. What else can you tell me? I've often wondered about the map itself over the years. I've seen a fair number of them, and none were made by a cartographer. My guess is that they were made by the temple's acolytes. They did their best, but they didn't really know what they were doing. My question is why? It's almost as if they knew something was coming and were told to make maps to ensure that the temple will be found one day. Well, thanks for your help. And now we are a tiny bit surrounded by men in Aurelian armor and cloaks. When you step outside, you're immediately surrounded by the Aurelian guards. They aren't hostile, at least not yet. A praetor steps forward and gives you an appraising look. Lord Galas desires the pleasure of your company, he says formally. It would be most unwise to refuse the invitation, he adds after a pause. So we'll go and see the Lord. You enter the main hall. At the far end of it, Lord Galas holds court, receiving daily visitors in the order of their importance. A row of guards form a barrier between the lord of the house and the petitioners, with blank stares on their faces. Another row forms a semicircle around Galas, their eyes constantly scanning the crowd. Someone's a little bit paranoid. Not gonna be easy to assassinate, I suppose. We will approach. So, Antidus still wants to find the temple. He doesn't learn, does he? Asks Galas. He speaks like a true statesman, addressing the audience rather than speaking directly to you. Last time he sent a small army, this time he sent you. Are you that good, or is Antidus that desperate? Why do you care? Because those who don't understand what they are doing are the ones who should be watched the most. Do you have any idea what it is that you're trying to find for Antidus? They say it was a place of great power. Would you deliver that power, abandoned for a good reason, mind you, to Antidus? Who will put it to use without hesitation? Would you destroy what's left of our lands? Well, would you rather I deliver it to you? I'd rather it remains lost, but since there's no shortage of fools willing to look for it, I want to find it and steal it for good, and I want you to help me. Interesting. So he really is, at least superficially, afraid of the old technology. That, of course, makes me wonder why the people that he sent were in that mine shaft, essentially digging it out again. But maybe he also wanted to lock it away. Still, I suspect he's not as as straight with us as, you know, he seems to want to make it sound. Well, you aren't tempted by the power at all, then? Tempted by the power that destroyed an empire? I think not. I'm well familiar with the old world's magic, and trust me when I tell you that it can't be controlled. When you unleash a hurricane or a wildfire, don't complain when it burns your house down. Desperate men might be willing to risk it all, but I am far from desperate. Today I rule the largest city. In 10 years I will rule all, with or without your help. But I can assure you that helping me will be a lot more rewarding than meddling in my affairs. You want me to believe that all those magi were fools who played with fire? Does the world around you not speak for itself? The magi tempered with the very fabric of reality. What unfathomable arrogance and blindness. Hundreds of years have passed, but the city still bears the scars. I suggest you visit the Abyss if you haven't already done so. It's a reminder of the horrors of the past and a warning to heed its lessons. What do you think about the stories of demons and gods? They've been awfully quiet since the war, haven't they? One can almost think that they were invented by fools like Antidus, who couldn't face the fact that the Empire was brought to its knees by some savages from beyond the sea. Supernatural beasts had to be involved somehow. So how did these savages bring the Empire down then? You know what I think? The Empire had ruled for too long unopposed and gone soft. The Kantari caught them by surprise, and by the time we've remembered how to fight, the war was almost lost. Caution was thrown to the wind and the Magi were given a free rein. They won the war, but we're still paying the price. What do you know about the temple? Not that much, actually. I believe that I heard about it for the first time when Antidas mounted his expedition. I've consulted my lore master since then, but all I've learned is that it was the temple of Thoragoth the Artificer. It is said that many magi traveled there to improve their craft and build arcane devices of great power, which certainly explains Antidas's interest. Well, he's not a fool. No? Has he found a way to control magic? He must be a very powerful magus then to prevail where thousands of Imperial magi had failed. Alright, we'll concede that he has a point, but of course the question is, are we selfless enough to go along with him? What do you want me to do? I want you to find the temple and deliver it to me. And what if I say no? Then I'll tell you that I will never allow this power to fall into Antidas's hands, no matter the cost. Should you do the right thing and help me seal the temple, I will not overlook it and reward you generously. Thus, your choice is between being hunted and killed and being rewarded and elevated. Not a hard choice at all. Well, we can now switch allegiance to his house and be done with Daratan, but we're gonna go with I'll consider it and leave. Galas tells the guards to take you back, and they dutifully escort you to Domitius' house. And here we are back again with a righteous bunch of skill points to distribute once more. The thing is, I think we're actually at the point where we want to be with persuasion already. We just need a bit more streetwise, some more crafting, and a few more points in lockpicking to have the build that makes the most sense here. Now, the thing is, of course, that siding with the guy we're trying to depose at the moment doesn't seem particularly smart. That is, if we were to actually depose him, that's the question. But ultimately, I'd like to pursue that angle of the story with this character, so I'd like to indulge in the conspiracy and see how we can profit, since it's always easier to, you know, get a bigger share of the cake from a new ruler who relies on you having brought him to power than an established ruler who basically just throws you the scraps from his table. I've just headed into the slums, as you may have noticed, because I want to go for a little exploratory walk, even though we can't quite do the quest for the youth outside yet, since we will get murdered. You arrive at the infamous Madaran slums, greeted only by an oppressive silence settling around you. Filth-clad figures pay you little notice as they pawn through refuse piled against dilapidated buildings, yet you can feel hostile eyes watching you from the shadows. You're keenly aware that even the guards have long since chalked this place up as a loss. The patrol routes avoid the squalid maze of collapsed buildings and makeshift shelters. The only authority here is the Thieves' Guild. You can just make out the headquarters in the distance, the shattered dome of the High Temple, an everlasting mockery that serves as a reminder of this district's fall from its former grandeur. We'll go exploring, and the local tour guide, of course, has already cast an eye on it. "You must be lost," says the man in his 50s, looking at you with interest. "People who don't belong here don't come often, so they always stand out. I'm Leon. It's been more than 20 years since I've ended up in the slums. I thought I wouldn't last a day, yet here I am." "What do you want?" "An honest pay for an honest day's work, no more nor less. You've heard about the slums, yes? It's not for the faint-hearted. So, what you need is a local guide to keep the riffraff away from you and you away from the riffraff. It's almost like 2 jobs in one, but I'll ask only for 100 coins if you can spare it." No thanks, you are the riffraff, my friend." He will not hesitate to bring you somewhere unpleasant and then rather swiftly fuck you over, so I would not recommend going with him unless you want to get a few more experience points from going into a fight. What we do want to do is strike up a conversation with this gentleman here, who is standing next to this well. The well greets you with green-tinted stagnant water. For a moment there, you think that you see a distorted reflection in the water, but then you realize that it's a bloated corpse. Suddenly, you no longer feel thirsty. A dirty-looking local. The man's eyes light up with hope. "Want to make some easy money? I found something that nobody else did, but I can't do it alone. he says quickly as if afraid that you'll reconsider. It's the real deal, I swear. Well, easy money is my specialty, friend. Down there, says the man, pointing at the well. It's deep, deeper than you think. Dive deep enough and you'll find a passage. It's not long, about 50 yards. If you can hold your breath long enough, you'll reach a chamber filled with treasure. We'll split it 50-50, so what do you say? Are you in? How can you be sure of that? We saw Basar knifing someone the other night. The man fell right in, so we figured that maybe, you know, he had something valuable on him. So Menace drove right in, but didn't find the body. Instead he found that passage I told you about. So where is he now? He didn't make it back, says the man, avoiding eye contact. He took a bag to haul back all the loot, dove again, and that was the last time I saw him. Lucky for you, eh? Get his share just for showing up. So, you ready to dive? This, of course, sounds like a spectacularly dumb idea, but it also wouldn't be completely out of the question that there is actually something down there, so we will examine the well. Believe it or not, I don't have anything better to do at the moment. So, the well greets you with green-tinted stagnant water. For a moment there, you think that you see your distorted reflection in water, then you realize it's a bloated corpse. We've just read that. Sorry about that. We will go down. Ew. Yeah, this is a bit tricky. I hope I remember how this goes. We may just drown there. You lower yourself into the murky, foul-smelling water and let go of the well's edge. You can't see anything and you aren't sure you want to, since the locals have a habit of dumping bodies here. You keep probing the walls looking for that entrance but find nothing. We will go deeper. You continue sinking into the depth while exploring the walls looking for any signs of the supposed entrance. You're ready to give up when the wall to your right ends abruptly, inviting you in. And we'll go in. You squeeze yourself into a small opening in the brickwork and swim forward until you find yourself in a small chamber with a vaulted ceiling high enough to contain a small pocket of air. You explore the chamber and find 3 passages leading into different directions. One appears to be sealed shut, but the other 2 seem to be safe to explore. We will go right, I think. The passage seems to be endless, and before long you feel tightness in your chest, signaling that you're about to run out of air. For all you know, this passage could go on for miles, so maybe it's time to turn back while you can. We shall swim forward as fast as we can. You push yourself forward, trying not to think of the increasing pressure in your chest and mounting fear. Soon you reach another fork. You see some faint light coming from the left, and we will go left. You almost lose consciousness, having no more than 10 or 15 heartbeats left in you when you see some light coming from above. Push yourself upwards. You're standing in what was once a large chamber, partly caved in. The other end of it is filled with a thick layer of debris. The only objects of interest are a strange doorway standing in the middle of the chamber, and an even stranger device, a half-buried control panel and a metal strongbox. We will explore the chamber. So we have actually located what was supposedly down here. The control panel is destroyed beyond repair. You doubt that there is a lore master who would know what to do with it. And there's a doorway. It's a strange thing. What was it? Where is it? I'm trying to find the text. It's a strange thing, for it leads nowhere, yet it's clearly a complex mechanism rather than a simple doorway. Heavy metal pipes connected to the control panel and a strange device sitting next to it and disappear into the floor. Delicate silver pipes coiling around glass tubes filled with what appears to be liquid metal are set deep within the frame, their purpose unknown. Of course, all doorways must lead somewhere. You don't need to be a genius to figure that out. The question is where and how. I think this might be some sort of teleportation device, but I can't remember. I think I've only read about it. What do we have here? It looks like a glass lamp, a glass tube, or what's left of it enclosed in a rusty metal cage designed to protect the glass from damage. Unfortunately, the device wasn't designed to withstand a cave-in, and the glass is cracked and broken in places. It's still glowing though. You've heard of such devices before, but you've never seen one until now. The stories mention that the ancients knew how to capture and store the power of the sun. The drawings that illustrated such tales pictured small suns shining brightly in magical cages held by wise and noble magi. The reality has proven to be far less glamorous. Some broken glass in a rusted bent cage, so this is sort of a battery. And we have something more back here where it gets a little more profitable. We'll see what we can salvage. You look around for something valuable, leaving no stone unturned. Your dedication is rewarded by a sizable pile of coin, still in mint condition, a few ingots of blue steel, and a real prize buried in the debris. 2 ingots... was it? Low. 2 ingots of dark grey metal that is not of this earth. And a strong box. It lacks decoration of any kind, and you don't see anything even remotely resembling a lid, but you see a keyhole which tells you all you need to know about it. We can try to lockpick it, but I think we need lockpicking 5 for it, and I don't think we can quite get that yet. Let me just quickly look. What was this? Okay, doesn't say. It's just crafting materials, but this is apparently the dark ingot that we may have found there. Yeah. Oh, sell price is 10. Probably not worth selling. Let me check how many skill points we can invest here. Oh, we can get 5. Let's try it. I was actually pretty sure that that would be enough. We might have to come back. I'm gonna reload this, because we will probably need the points to make some other checks in between. Well, we know 5 isn't enough. And one thing I'm not sure about is... let me try something else. I'm gonna invest some points in lore. And look at this again. I'm pretty sure that you can do something with this. I'm pretty sure you can gauge something from this if you have lore 8. But yeah, this is... the bookshelf's empty, judging by a recently disturbed layer of dust. The contents of the shelves went into Menace's bag. Yeah, Menace has not had much success with that. So let's reload and keep our skill points close to heart. Let's just pick up the items here quickly. And for the moment leave it at that. But this is definitely a nice sort of semi-secret place to go to. There's also still the other passage that we can explore. We will probably fail this check. You push yourself forward, but holding your breath becomes almost unbearably painful. You panic and turn back to the first chamber, pushing yourself forward until you break the surface, gasping for air. We will go left. The passage leads you to a chamber with a partially collapsed roof. If there is another passageway, it's buried under the rubble. Your arrival disturbs the warder and wakes up the only inhabitant of the chamber, a bloated corpse who greets you with a tentacle-like intestines sprouting from his opened stomach. Charming, we'll examine it. You push the corpse's intestines aside and dig deep inside the gush in his stomach. Your efforts are rewarded with a large ruby the man must have swallowed before meeting his demise. Well, we'll go back to the surface. So we have made a pretty decent haul here, and we found an intriguing spot to eventually return to. I will have to experiment with how to get that save open, because I think there is a way. I was pretty sure it was lockpicking 5, but I may be mistaken. It might also be crafting. Let's talk to this gentleman here and give him his cut, because, you know, we'd rather, you know, not even reward him, but I have a feeling I want to know what happens if we actually pay him off. I've never done that. Do you have it? Asks the man anxiously. Where's my cut? I give him 100 imperials. Don't flash the gold, whispers the man, quickly snatching the money from your hand and tucking it carefully into his robe. He glances around to make sure that nobody saw the transaction, then lets a wide grin run across his face. And he's gone. Right, so that was a little excursion here. There are way more things to do here. Unfortunately, this group will completely wreck our day if we meet them right now. So for the moment, we will go back to the arena district. I just really wanted to show off that well as one of the sort of secret or, harder to find maybe locations. And if you want to see what my dexterity and constitution is, it's 5 and 7, so I did invest a little bit in constitution. I think the point of it is, since, I didn't make the build, I think the point of it is both this skill check and also the abyss. But I'm not sure, like this is getting to the point where I need to scout ahead a little bit to just keep myself informed on what the best course of action through the game now is, because this is reaching the extent of how far I have made it through the game. I'm also contemplating just going back to the starting area with an assassin character as a sort of an aside, just to show off how different the game can be if you build your character differently, and also just to show off the combat. So there might be a bit of an interlude at some point where I'm just uploading an episode or 3 of an assassin character. But we'll see how far we can take this gentleman here. There is, I feel, still some fairly juicy stuff left for this series to show off. And yeah, like the series so far, I mean, it's been pretty decent progress, and the game is almost complete in a sense. That mention of the Hellgate that we heard about, I think, is one of the few locations that aren't in the game yet. But hey, it's going to be added in the next couple of weeks, and there will also be a post-launch period, so I may just do a post-launch series about this game, like as a full playthrough at some point. For the moment, we're going to go to the Palace District, because that's one we haven't seen yet. You enter the Palace District, your senses assaulted by the sights and sounds of the sea of humanity around you. Everywhere people shout and jostle for position, haughty nobles and their routines and guards. Their routines and guards? Okay. Guildmasters giving orders to scurrying clerks. Emissaries from distant lands seeking an audience. Servants of the great houses on urgent errands. Citizens seeking ruling on disputes, and tattered petitioners come to beg for aid. A few guards look on in boredom, carefully avoided by the rest. Their role seems to be to maintain order in the chaos more than to bar entry and to keep an eye on the slaves laboring to restore the walls surrounding the palace. In the distance you see the palace itself, a multi-domed structure surrounded by tall minarets. Legend has it that the minarets somehow protected the palace from attacks during the war, but there is no defense against betrayal. One of the minarets was brought down from within by a traitor. You can see where it collapsed, caving in one of the domes as it fell. Okay. There is a slight shimmering in the air around the minarets, even the fallen one, which probably explains why it hasn't been cleared even after all these years. And we're being accosted by a petitioner. You can't get in without a badge, says a man standing next to you. I had to wait 6 weeks to get mine, and the goddamn thing is only good for a day. Cost me 250 imperials. It's nothing but another levy. Okay, why does it take so long? Why? Look at all these people. They all want something, and there aren't enough hours in the day to hear everyone. So you need to get on the list, pay for the privilege, and wait a few weeks. Well, good luck with that, because this guy is just trying to rip us off, since we have already been to Galas. If we go to the Centurion, it will just, go on. Go in, you're on the list. So there's absolutely no need to buy that. It's just this guy trying to scam you. Now, I actually forgot to talk to the carpet trader, but we can't make this work anyway. There is a carpet trader in the arena quarter that wants a gem that this guy here has, but we don't really have a skill set matching anything that's required to get at the gem, like to even get him to give it up. The next thing we would maybe want to do is pursue the Lady Lorenza angle, because she lives somewhere here-ish. Senna. She lives here. Right, and I think this is Serena's house of the guy we actually want to put into succession for Galas. You're standing outside the house of Lord Serenas the Victorious, the notorious victor of many a field. a name bestowed upon him by whores, apparently. So yeah, we've heard about that. Okay, I'm gonna leave it here. I thank you very much for watching, and bye for now.